Welcome to this video, which is the first of two on the literature review. A key element of any dissertation is the literature review. This video will explore what a review of the literature is and what it isn't, and consider the aims of the literature review and how this relates to your wider dissertation. A review of the literature is a comprehensive discussion of previous research and literature on a topic. It will usually focus on secondary sources such as academic books and journal articles, which recount previous research. But depending on your subject, it may also include primary sources and other types of data, such as legislation, policy papers, images, websites, or newspaper articles. A review of the literature provides the theoretical basis for your dissertation and helps you to determine the focus of your research. It situates your topic within the body of knowledge of your discipline, that is, you say what has come before and why your research is necessary. However, a review of the literature should go further than simply summarising previous research. It requires you to evaluate, so question and make judgments about the validity and strength of argument in the previous literature. It can be useful to think of the literature review like an explorer's map. An explorer may be charting new territory, but will work from maps of what territory has already been charted previously to identify what areas still need to be mapped. So your literature review is like a map in the sense that it creates a picture of the territory which has already been covered by other research, depicts the detail of the terrain in terms of what previous research found, and from this establishes where there are still gaps in the map, gaps which your own research may address. It can also be useful to conceptualise the literature review in terms of what it is not. So it is not just a descriptive summary of existing literature. You need to go further than simply summarising or describing. You do this by questioning the sources and reflecting upon whether you agree or disagree with the main arguments presented and why. It's also not an account of every existing piece of research linked to your topic. Whilst it should be comprehensive, you need to be selective, as it's neither possible nor desirable to include absolutely everything. So if it's not those things, then what is it exactly? It is a critical analytical account. Being critical means that you adopt a questioning approach. You dig deeper into what you're reading and ask questions such as how, why is this so, and what does this mean for my topic? Videos 11 and 12 in this series consider critical reading in more detail. A review of the literature is also a synthesis of the arguments of others. Think of synthesis like mixing together ingredients to make a cake. When we synthesize, we bring different sources together and we compare and contrast the arguments and findings to identify our overall understanding of a certain topic, idea, or theme. Videos 13 and 14 in this series go into more detail on synthesis and how to go about it effectively. A review of the literature is also organised around ideas or arguments. As you read, key themes will arise, and this is how your literature review should be organised. The next video focuses on how you might organise your literature review with this in mind. And finally, a review of the literature is also an account of the selection of writings relevant to your work. Just as an explorer would not make use of a map of Brazil when charting the North Pole, the literature that you include in your review should be relevant to your specific topic. So the features we've considered so far all link to the aims of the literature review. These are to provide an organised overview of existing research on your topic and to take a critical and evaluative perspective towards that literature. This will in turn provide the foundations for and justify your own research aims, because you'll identify where there's a gap in the literature, whether that's a topic that hasn't been dealt with before or in the same way, or you're proposing a new take on an old problem. So that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.